This is The Speaking Show. I'm David Newman, and you're tuned in to the #1 podcast for speakers, consultants, and experts who want to speak more profitably. I am here with the front runner networker herself, Cathy Paper of Front Runner Networking. Welcome to The Speaking Show.
Well, thank you. Happy to be here.
So you have this fantastic program that helps professionals, executives, entrepreneurs master a skill that I absolutely hate, and I hate it because I'm terrible at it, namely networking. How did that become your thing? Why is that important? Give us the whole backstory of Cathy plus networking.
First, I would tell you I would never know that you hate networking, David. So you've done a great job of masking that and being successful in spite of hating networking. How I got into this was when I launched my own business 12 years ago. I really knew you needed other people to help you expand and grow. And I started to build relationships with people and be out and about in the community. And as I was helping people sell their books, which was the first focus of my business, I knew that people needed other people to help them sell. So thus comes both marketing and networking. And about 5 years ago, I really realized that not everybody liked to network. And they didn't know what to do, and they would go to events and it wouldn't be productive and they wouldn't meet the right people. And they were all excited to build 500 plus LinkedIn contacts, but it didn't have any purpose. So it was collecting names to reach a number without having a purpose. And I just knew that I could teach and train people a system to genuinely build connections and to have it be reciprocal and to have it be powerful and to have it accomplish their goals. So thus came Frontrunner Networking and several other programs that go along with that.
So let's say that some folks listening in, some speakers, executives, consultants, professionals, they're like, well, yeah, I've tried networking and, I go to all these mixers and I go get all the business cards and I go hand out my business card. Occasionally I meet some cool people, but it's certainly not intentional and it's certainly not reliable. What's wrong with the kind of typical networking that most of us think about? And then teach us a little bit about the front runner networking system that you teach and that communities that you're building that do this.
So it's a great example of what people do is they think, I'm just going to build all these relationships and I'm going to go to these 7 events and I've got 5 business cards of meeting planners and I've got the person who's the hiring manager and the decision maker. And really they're going into the networking. It's all about them. And they're going what I call kind of that drive-by networking. And they pass out their business card very quickly. They talk very quickly about what it is that they want or they're doing and aren't in it to build longer term relationships. So for anyone who's listening, kind of first, instead of thinking networking, how can I think I'm building a relationship? So that I'm building, may not be a full-on partnership, but it's a relationship where I'm asking the other person, what can I do for you? How can I help you? I'm also thinking about who do I need in my network and what could I offer to them? So first step before anybody even, goes out to any event, and granted, I went to a lot of events early on where I would run around the room, I'd get all the business cards, as you said, and nothing would happen. And so the sooner I slowed down and said, okay, which are the right rooms to be in? Who's my target audience? Who's my clientele that I'm looking to meet with? Who are maybe their influencers? So that business that's coming from referrals, they actually know you. They know that you're trustworthy. They know that you deliver results. They know that you are reliable. They know what it is you do, what it is you're speaking on, so that the people in your network are really your centers of influence. So first step is strategy. And I'd also tell you this. So I did a survey last year of 500 people, and I sent out and I asked them about networking. And you're not alone in saying that you hate networking. Nobody likes the word networking. But when I talk about relationships, they think I'm going to try to, find them a love interest. And I'm like, no, we're talking about how can you surround yourself with good people. So the other piece in that survey we found out was the larger the group gets or the interchange gets, the more uncomfortable people get. So you and I can have a conversation one-on-one and we can accomplish things. We can hear about what each other's goals are. Maybe we pass some business back and forth. But the minute I walk into an event and there are 5 people standing around, I'm uncomfortable. 75% of the people are very uncomfortable in those situations. So it's learning, okay, if you have to go to those types of events, what is it that you do? Maybe you bring someone with you so that they're telling other people, oh, you've published 3 books and you were a speaker at this event. So you're not just puffing yourself up incessantly.
Your wingman, so to speak.
Your wingman. And wingman is courtesy, to Waldo and Joe Sweeney and all the guys that talk about wingmen.
Hey, this interview is a real moneymaker. If you're serious about ramping up your reach and revenue as a speaker, trainer, or expert, book a confidential speaker strategy call with our team. The link is doitmarketing.com/call. It will be the most valuable 45 minutes you invest in your speaking-driven business. Speaking of value, let's get back to the show. Now, even in this endeavor, you're not doing this by yourself. Tell us about Paul and how you two came to be partners in Frontrunner Networking.
Yeah, so Paul and I connected through a mutual person, Steve Staup, which is always a great way to meet somebody that says and sort of vouches for this person. And Paul has had a really successful career in the investigative business, in running other companies. And we knew that kind of people don't know how to build their network and they don't think about, what it is that they need to do, meaning being strategic about it, that young professionals go into the workforce and are like, okay, well, I'll do business development someday and it'll just happen. Or they want to be just like the lead person that does business development, but they don't know how to do it. So Paul and I said, let's get together, let's connect. And we made a curriculum where in 10 meetings, we take people through this so that they can come up with their Impact 100. And I say that number, and what we found is right away people were like, I don't know 100 people, and I certainly don't know 100 people that I will help them with their work and they will help them with my work. So we've gotten people to really hone in, even if you only have 42 relationships, let's make those 42 really powerful relationships that, what we call gold, silver, and bronze, that you're really helping them. You're helping them, do those things. So that's how Paul and I connected.
So talk a little bit more about this Impact 100, because I'm guessing that most people listening to us right now, Cathy, they say, oh, well, if I was looking for a job, I would totally want to have an Impact 100. Or if I'm a salesperson or an entrepreneur, I totally want to have an Impact 100. But you're saying that whether we're in job search mode or sales mode or not, just as a highly functional professional and a highly functioning executive, we should have this army of 100 people in our back pocket, regardless of immediate need today, correct?
Correct.
How does that work, and how do we encourage people to dig their well before they're thirsty?
So really, with the Impact 100, it's as straightforward an exercise as going back through your emails and your meetings for the last 30 days and your phone even, and seeing who have you met with? Who are you working with? Who are you doing your day-to-day business with? And then starting to categorize those people by, are they your clients? Or are they your centers of influence? Meaning they're people that will refer other people to you. They're people that will, speak highly of you. Or maybe they're people that are your coaches and your advisors that are making you better. And being able to categorize those people, then you will expose and say, well, if I want to grow my business, and I only have 3 people that are my centers of influence, and I want to become, the best speaker in the accounting area, I need to know some people that are managing directors of accounting firms. Or I need to know people that are running the association for accountants so that I can have those people in my inner circle and be able to deliver what I want.
This is an 8-week program, correct?
It's actually every other week. So it's about the course of 3 months.
And this is not just, hey, let's get together and network. You're giving people skills, tools, frameworks, competencies, conversation starters, questions, scripts, all kinds of things like this. It's limited to 12 people per group. And tell me how you run the groups and give me a sense of what would happen when we sign up for one of these and we're in this 3-month to 4-month experience with our group, our cohort.
Yeah, great question. So really what happens is, sometimes people come in and they think, oh, great, now I'm going to have 12 people that are my network. And we have people from all different industries. So accountants, lawyers, nonprofits. I always put in one person looking for a job. We have different people, from all different industries, corporate. Keeping it diverse because then people get to see everybody approaches networking in sort of the same way, even from a different industry.
So you do this chemistry, you do this curation among the groups very carefully on a person by person basis.
Correct. You have to fill out an application. You need to tell us, what other groups you're in. We always have some people on scholarship, but yeah, we curate it because you want to have people that, as I think in a group of 12, you want to learn from the other people that are in there. And yes, what you said about scripts and helping people through, I'm very much of a hands-on person because I think people learn better that way. And then it's real time. What's in it for them? So we start with things like, what is your personal brand? What are the words that you're known for? And usually I'll get kind of blank looks from people. And then I'll say, okay, now do you have a file of any of the accolades other people have sent you? Any emails where they've said, you're terrific, you're creative, you're, so action oriented, you're very strategic, you're so intelligent, all those things, which of course you are, David. So they say that. And then you want to, build your personal brand. Then we help people really start to take a look at kind of where are you out and about? You got to have a goal too, but then where are you out and about in the community, or how are you building your network? And people always say, well, I go to all these events, I've joined the chamber, I've been in Rotary, but it hasn't really converted for me. And then there's sort of some clues for some good conversations around, well, what does conversion look like? And are you on a subcommittee, or are you just showing up at the event, talking to 3 people, going to the luncheon and never really sort of diving any deeper? Are you, deeper involved? We also take people through the worksheets. And I remember when I first met you, you had a great Excel spreadsheet that was for editorial content planning. And we help people build their Impact 100 on a spreadsheet where they can see it all. A lot of people use Salesforce or Nimble or HubSpot or any CRM, but they don't ever take it apart and work it over like it's their holiday card list. So we go through that with them and kind of comb through it and say, well, tell me about this person. And I'm working with a group of lawyers, so we'll go into a company and do it for them. And, when I ask, well, tell me, are you connected to your law school at all? And they sort of look at me and I haven't seen those people in 10 years. And I'm like, well, don't you think, 20 of those people that you're close to that now are inside companies or are at other law firms, might they be referral sources for you? And all of a sudden people are like, okay, I get it. Now I get what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. Tell us a little bit about typical outcomes, right? Because networking, generally speaking, I meet new people. Some of them work out, some of them don't. But you have a very structured, very proactive way of doing this networking so that people do get specific outcomes. I mean, obviously they have to work the plan to get
Right.
the results, but what are the outcomes that you want for your folks as they're going out in your program and after your program?
Yeah. So, what I want, one of the first outcomes is clarity and a strategic plan so that they know, everybody's pressed for time. So, I want them to use those 3 to 10 hours of either networking or business development in its most effective way. And that's one of the outcomes. I want people to have a sense of their personal brand, meaning in your top 100 or impact 100, there are some people in that group that will tell you when, if you send out an email and there are typos or two pictures or something, those are the kind of people that will call you and say, hey, by the way, you got to fix that. So I want people to have a really strong sense of who's in their network. One of the outcomes is to know where are your holes. Who else do you need? So a lot of people realize they only network with people from their industry. They don't know anybody from nonprofits. They don't know any service providers. They don't know any more people that might be talking to their influencers. So one of the outcomes is knowing where your holes are so that you can start to then say, okay, now when I'm looking at LinkedIn, now I know what I'm looking for. Now I know who I'm trying to find. Another outcome would be, of course, it's confidence, which is a weird one to call an outcome. But I think once people can see that they have good relationships that have been working for them and how they built those relationships, then they have the confidence to go build more relationships. Again, I said I do some corporate work where they want to get promoted, but they don't have the right relationships inside the organization. We've helped them figure out, okay, how do I build that better relationship with the person I need to? So we actually map, I have people rank their relationships. I encourage them not to run up to the person and say, on a scale of 1 to 5, you're a 3, and show them that number. But I want them to have a sense of how do I know when my relationship's a 3, when it's a 4, 5 is, very few and far between, but those are your really solid relationships.
Those are people that would come bail you out of jail at 2 a.m.
You got it.
I have to have at least one of those people in my life
Yes.
at some
Well,
point.
that's what Paul talks about for his 5s.
Right, exactly. Super quick commercial break. Isn't this interview amazing? If you'd like to get more ideas on how to start or grow your speaking business fast, pop over to our free training at doitmarketing.com/webinar. So I know that you have this fantastic track record in your previous work with books and publishing. Is there going to be a networking book, or is there other cool things that you're looking forward to in your future? I know these groups are launching now throughout the year and more and better and bigger, but what else is on your agenda as the next big thing kind of in the crystal ball for Frontrunner Networking?
Actually, there will be a book in my future. I'm not as prolific as you, but it'll be out there on relationship currency and building the network to help you reach your goals. So I've been working on that and just putting items together on that. And I'm interviewing people right now and collecting stories because I think a lot of successful people know that somewhere along the way they got a break from somebody in their network. And, often it's people are nervous to ask for what they want or what they need. And I hope this book will help people. A lot of people say, well, I don't have anything to offer the other person. I'm like, no, you do, but it's about framing it up. So I will tell people, you may know how to use social media better than the person you're asking for career advice, or you may be closer to the customer than somebody else is. So that's another one of the outcomes is we help people sort of see their value so that the exchange works out right.
Do you feel that there's a certain level or a certain demographic that is either more networking savvy or networking averse? So like senior executives, right? C-level people, they do this naturally. They do this on the golf course. They do this when they're playing tennis. like you said, they networking at conferences. This is kind of a natural thing if you're a top level executive. Now, not all top level executives love doing it, but it's sort of the quote unquote old boys network, which is, one form of networking, good, bad, or otherwise, probably bad because they probably weren't doing it right. But is it a mid-level thing where people aren't that comfortable? Is it young professionals that have no idea how to do this? Or how are you tailoring this just based on their networking comfort level?
I actually think it's more of a have people had success with networking and building new relationships. So it's more how you're wired. And do you know that if you help other people, eventually they will help you, and kind of learn that? And again, not to say give it all away, but to be gracious with your time and with your help for other people. So I'm a real connector of I'll say, you should meet this person. And I found that to be very helpful. So I don't think there's a demographic per se on it. And I would tell you, actually, when you mentioned the old boys club, what I think is I tell people, have your network be as diverse as possible. And I think that's really changing. But even, I'll have friends who tell me they're like, I don't want to go to an all women's event. It's just all women. Or I don't want to just be in the young professionals group. That's too limiting. So I will tell people, try to have somebody from every generation, try to have somebody from, different genders, try to keep your network diverse, by race, religion, all of that, so that you can really see it's richer. It's much richer.
You have some people that are tall, some are short, some have hair, some
Yes.
don't.
Dog lovers, cat lovers, the whole deal.
No, but that is a great point because you will seriously, you'll limit your connections and you'll limit your opportunities if you only hang out with people who are just like you, right? That's our natural tendency. It's like, oh, I like her. She's just like me. And then she likes you because, oh, you're just like her. And then when, tunnel vision sets in and then you're really limiting the diversity, and that's lowercase d, not necessarily even uppercase d, you're limiting the diversity of your reach. And you're limiting the diversity of the people who you can help and who can help you. So that's a really, really great point. Two final questions as we're coming into the home stretch here. The final question is, where can we send people to get connected and stay connected to more of your brilliance, Cathy? But even before that, the second to last question, if people were to take one central idea away from our conversation today about networking or around your particular brand of networking, which is Frontrunner Networking, frontrunnernetworking.com, what do you hope that central takeaway would be?
I would hope that people would take away being intentional about your network, meaning know who's in your network, know who you want in your network, know why they're in there, and then really treat them well. Meaning, sometimes I think people that they don't know who their closest or best referral sources are, and they don't love them up enough, and they don't go out of their way for them. And eventually that person, may be like, wait, what has that person ever done for me? So being intentional, being really kind and good to your network is probably the big takeaway. And then actually put it on paper, know who your Impact 100 is. And if you're advanced in your career and your business is really flourishing, teach the people around you to know who your Impact 100 is. Who are your vendors? All my vendors, I will refer business to them all the time because they're reliable and they do a good job. So that'd be my number one takeaway, David.
So it also sounds like part of this, Cathy, might be doing a little bit of a network-ectomy of removing some people who are no longer serving you or no longer in that, mechanism that's helpful to you anymore.
Yes. So those are the ones, how I told you the ranking system. If you have somebody that's in your network that's a 2 or even a 1, and you don't really want to be doing business with them, it's okay to remove them. Or if you've given so much to somebody and they've never reciprocated, feel free to, I think you're going to have to say that word again.
Network-ectomy.
A network-ectomy, yeah.
Feel free to use that. That's my gift to you.
Okay, perfect.
Now, people are going to want to be better at this. They're going to want to connect with you. How do people get connected and stay connected to more Cathy Paper genius? Where can we send them?
You could send them to my LinkedIn, Cathy Paper with a C, and paper just like you write on. And then they can reach out, and I'm happy to share with people one of the tools that we use in the program so that they can build their Impact 100 and start working on that. Or they can look at Frontrunner Networking and apply for one of the groups. We're right now in one city, but we're hoping to broaden to other cities and be doing some bigger events.
FrontRunnerNetworking.com. That's where that is. All right, Cathy Paper, so fabulous to talk to you. You have re-inspired me to get my networking act together. And thank you for being so helpful and sharing such great ideas with our listeners who are going to be front runner networkers if they follow your advice.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me, David.
Well, that wraps up another episode of The Speaking Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on iTunes. Subscribe. Tell a friend. Go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thespeakingshow.com. See you next time.